TikTok and I came across this video called the LA Cool Girl. So what is the LA Cool Girl, you may ask? Her rent is somehow $1,200 a month. Her looks are collections of decades, so she likes to thrift. She goes to lessons all the times instead of Erewhon. She travels and works remotely, loves to read, loves to meditate, and her breakfast usually is some type of toast, and loves walks through the neighborhood. And this is what we call the LA Girl East Side edition. So this trend became on TikTok, which I feel like most TikTok trends now transcend to different media platforms. Something that really irked me while watching this video was just literally the gentrification of what an LA cool girl is. And as someone who is an LA native, born and raised here, this literally triggered how I've been feeling about, you know, gentrifying in Los Angeles, and how a lot of us who are born and raised in LA are just fed up with these tropes or these kind of outsiders trying to make LA look like something that is not. Let's dive in and let's talk about the LA Cool Girl. Disclaimer though, this video, I just really wanted to be an open discussion and talk about this and obviously give you my opinion. I just feel like with TikTok and all these different media platforms, these discussions are very imperative more than ever. There's a lot of misinformation that you see online, and I think it's very critical to analyze these situations because somebody can see that video and totally agree what she was saying, but there's people that are like, no, that's not how fucking LA is. Sorry if I'm cursing, I'm really heated about this topic and I just really want to talk about it here because I think it's really important to have open discussions because I feel like that allows us to open our minds. And y'all know me, I graduated my sociology degree, and anytime I can use it, I want to fucking use it. Don't forget, I left timestamps down below so you can skip around this video if you want. First off the bat, I want to talk about why this is a bothersome to me, why this LA Cool Girl is erasing history and how LA is culturally diverse. First of all, every time I watch something in the media, whether it's like TikTok, YouTube, or even on the news, I'm so fed up with watching through the white media perspective. I am going to reference white media a lot, and I'll clearly leave the definition here, what white media is, or the white perspective. And as a person who is a child of immigrants, who is Mexican American, and has grown up with a very Latinx culture, I'm just so fed up watching the white perspective. And I feel like when this popped up on my feed, it kind of just pushed the topics about gentrification and how LA is one of the predominantly cities that pushes so many communities out of their homes. I'm not trying to generalize the perspective because we all know based on your what? Your socioeconomic status, your experience can be a completely different one. I grew up with a very culturally diverse community. And when she referred to East Side, that she didn't particularly meant East LA, but more the fact Los Feliz, Silver Lake, Echo Park, Highland Park. That's another thing. We don't typically call those areas East Side. We typically say the cities that they are from. So the fact that one, she honestly just generalized a whole group of cities in one area has created misinformation about those cities. So this whole concept of how she defines cool as literally the white women experience reinforces the cultural and social norms that we have been trying to dismantle. This whole thing that, you know, the white person is superior, they're the only type of groups that we can relate to. Even just seeing someone within my own culture on television creates this sense of one, relatability, but also the sense of self. We all come from culturally diverse ethnicities, races, and now we're finally going to a point where we're finally being heard, and then we still have people reinforcing these social norms because they now feel like they're not being heard. I just want to identify what gentrification is, and I got my iPad because y'all know that I cannot multitask. What is gentrification? The planned or unplanned process by which wealthy or affluent individuals displace poorer individuals in traditionally working class or poor neighborhoods by purchasing property and upgrading it through renovation and modernization. For me, gentrification is the problem of capitalism. I know, let's just blame capitalism. I feel like if we lived in a place where we all had equal playing fields, there wouldn't be that much social stratification between other classes. Reconnecting to gentrification and this video, making these assumptions of what an LA cool girl is, someone would see it out there who's not from LA and loves and agrees to what she's saying and can potentially move out here because of the small little tropes that she's talked about being in LA. First of all, I do acknowledge that there is this kind of experience of like influencer culture, and I'm not denying that that's not a thing here, but that's not the only thing that is like living in LA. I think we forget how massive LA is comparative to other cities like New York and Chicago. So I quickly just want to move on to this other TikTok that I saw that a lot of people were also offended, was this I'm so LA. And these two girls, I guess they were talking on a podcast, and she was talking about her experience about how she's so LA, and I'll put it here so that you can see.
I'm so LA. I have turned. My mom visits me and she's like, I don't even know what you're saying. You know, I became vegan. I got into astrology. The typical LA journey. Got super into coffee and matcha.
And worshiping at the altar of Erewhon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every time my mom's like, well, you don't go like out to clubs or dinners, like how do you socialize? And I'm like, oh, Erewhon.
Yeah.
It's my club.
Erewhon, hikes,
Exactly.
yoga class. Like
Yeah.
it's a very different universe here.
But I absolutely eat it all up.
She talks about how she's so LA based on these tropes. She's also trying to push this narrative of like, well, this is how LA is because I'm so LA now. And this is literally an example of the unintended process of gentrification. We put a hierarchy on a specific perspective and are naive to others. After this whole video's just getting honestly a lot of backlash, a lot of people ended up rebuttaling her and made videos about how they were just so fed up with this girl's video and talked about their own perspective of what an LA cool girl is. And honestly, I freaking love that. I'm gonna put some examples in the next clip so that you can see them talking about their own personal experience as their own LA cool girl.
Let's meet the LA cool girl, non-gentrified edition. She's from the Valley. Her family's been there for decades. She always has the best nail designs, and she only pays $20 for a full set. She has the nicest makeup vanity you've ever seen in your life, and her dad built it for her. She always offers to do your makeup, and you look amazing every single time. She can wear the biggest, heaviest earrings, and her ears never hurt.
This is my version of the LA Cool Girl San Gabriel Valley edition. She'll try to avoid places like the Arcadia Mall because that was her high school stomping grounds. So you might catch her in Old Town Pasadena for that more cosmopolitan feel. She knew about the Huntington Gardens way before influencer culture.
Let's meet the LA cool girl, non-gentrified edition, part 2. She's from South Central. By day, she sings in her church's choir, and she has the literal voice of an angel. By night, she's your party friend, and she only drinks dark liquor. She always has the coolest hairstyles, and she rolls her eyes whenever anyone asks her, how do you wipe your ass with those? She's the only person you know that can actually pull off athleisure. And her taste in jewelry is out of this world.
So I personally also wanted to do this video because I wanted to reclaim what an LA cool girl is for me, and by stating what it means to be an LA cool girl based on where you grew up, that is still valid as an LA cool girl experience, even if I wasn't raised in freaking Brentwood, Beverly Hills. My own LA cool girl, which I wrote it down here, I'm gonna say it. She's from the 562. She rocks a name necklace, gold earrings, and has an anklet. She knows how to take public transportation, but prefers to bike or use a scooter because transportation here is unreliable. You can usually find her at her friend's house after school, which she literally lives down the street, and they're just hanging out eating hot Cheetos and dancing. She always has change for the paletero man y the elote man. There are at least like 8 different like taco pop-ups within her area. She goes to downtown Fullerton to have her drinks with her friends. She still lives at home with her family and typically doesn't leave her room because it can be really loud, and she loves her personal space. She works at a local restaurant. She's blasting Bad Bunny as she gets ready. And usually every Saturday she's waking up by the gardeners around her area. For me, this is what my LA cool girl is, but I also feel like there is this relatability of labels and and being able to identify with them. It also helps with, you know, finding a sense of self. With her experience talking about the I'm so LA tropes, I've also find some relatability in that aspect. I am vegan. I do enjoy matcha and fucking coffee. I love astrology. Aries right here. There's some things I don't relate to, like I don't go to fucking yoga classes. I don't have the freaking extra bank for that. And honestly, where I live, there's not really access to yoga classes to begin with. I have never been to Erewhon. I cannot even pronounce that freaking word. And I feel like that grocery store has been popping off all over social media lately because how outrageous the prices are there. And let's talk about it. Specific stores are put in different parts of the cities because obviously the distribution of wealth and income. There's not going to be an Erewhon close to my city. The distribution of wealth isn't the same as fucking Beverly Hills. But I'm not gonna lie, I would be interesting to go see the freaking grocery store just to see the freaking hype about it. Here's something I quickly just want to say about how people are tired of the white narrative perspective. I think more than ever, especially with TikTok and how it created this platform for all these different cultures to show their own perspective. I feel like people are now more interested in those experiences than the traditional white media or the traditional media that we've used to been seeing. And this honestly brought me back to this topic that I also talked about in my vlog channel not too long ago. So if it sounds redundant, my bad, but the Emma Chamberlain podcast where she talks about how influencing is oversaturated. But not to bash Emma Chamberlain, I think she's awesome, but I also feel like I disagree with her concept of how influencing is oversaturated. I think Emma Chamberlain has a different perspective. I don't think that people are tired of influencing. I think influencing now more than ever has given people of color, BIPOC communities, be able to do content creation. And this is a topic that I readily discuss, you know, with my BIPOC content creators. We're constantly feeling like we have to compete with the traditional type of media, which usually is white cis people. We feel now at this point, because people are pushing for diversity, people are pushing for inclusivity, that now more than ever we're finally getting recognized for all the work that we've been doing. So I'm gonna create this like little reference or analogy, but it feels like we've been behind the curtain doing, you know, all the little manual work for a play, and now it feels like they open the curtain and we're finally shining through, and we're now shown as, you know, front stage of a theater performance, for example. In her concept, Emma sees it that there's so many people influencing now, everyone's gonna be an influencer. I mean, sure, I feel like TikTok has allowed that. So of course, I quickly just want to talk about a theory, give you a little perspective, because I feel like since we're talking about gentrification, we cannot talk about urbanization. Well, I'm going to talk about quickly about this concept. It is this author and theorist called Jane Jacobs. She honestly talks about how cities need to be built to be more culturally diverse. She wrote a book called The Death and Life of Great American Cities, and she talks about how designing cities for the comfort of people and human interaction, the social theory of urban design emerges. Some conditions for diversity in the city also forces regeneration and characteristics of thriving cities that optimize the use of sidewalks, parks, and neighborhoods. Comparative to LA and New York, which is the cities she compares both of them, they're obviously completely different cities in the way that their urbanization of those cities are built. She talks about 4 generators of diversity. The way the city needs to be built is have mixed uses of those cities so that people are able to go outside throughout the whole day. And this is obviously something that is not apparent in living in a suburban area. It's not as walkable, comparably different to New York City, where you can just walk outside and there's a liquor store on the corner, or you know, there's even also commercial buildings. It doesn't even have to be a liquor store. There's probably a CVS too, literally down the block. Here in Los Angeles, where we have to take our car to just go to a local quad area where all these different stores are at. She also talks about short blocks, how the neighborhoods have to be short. And she gives an example of how Barcelona is structured. There's smaller short blocks than lengthy blocks that can be like 3 to 4 miles. She talks about having the mix mix of different buildings, you know, having modern buildings mixed with, you know, age buildings. That creates a different kind of social experience as well, because you can have different generations living all in the same area. She talks about concentration and how there should be more sufficient dense of concentration of people. Oh, this example kind of reminds me of like Times Square. Because that area is dense with people, it obviously provides culturally diverse different people going to that area. And this is something that I really wanted to talk about, because like I was saying about how being in LA and how the different cities that you are brought up have different cultures. Also the urbanization of how LA is built, because there's so many pockets of smaller cities. Thus circles back to why the LA cool girl is not one specific stereotype. So editing Karina here, and I quickly wanted to interrupt the video before it ends and talk about a little bit of the gentrification part, because I feel like I definitely sound repetitive in this video. But actually, after I filmed this, I saw so many new things pop up on TikTok. Kind of want to add the videos here so you can kind of see and like explain it to you real quick. So let's just quickly add the videos.
Oh my gosh, can I have a venti spa water? Just kidding. Una agua grande de pepino, por favor.
It would be really nice if Christina Columbus's stopped gentrifying our foods.
As we're aware on this app, people are calling agua frescas spa waters. So here's some other things that they might colonize in the near future with different white names. These aren't conchas, these are seashell donuts. Tostadas. No. These are cowboy caviar pizzas.
Am I crazy, or is this just elotes, like that Mexican street corn? They gentrified it, because it's literally like the same thing, right?
Black and brown women are the original clean girls. Let's talk about it. I do want to make one thing clear. I understand everyone takes pieces of different cultures. I totally understand that. But there's a very big difference between appreciation and appropriation. And the reality is that black and brown women have been doing this kind of hairstyle for years, but it never became the clean girl aesthetic up until white women started doing it. But when black and brown women did it, it was called lazy, or it was called ghetto. This is your reminder that if you're gonna grab something from a different culture, you can appreciate it but not appropriate it. Like
yeah, they're trying to gentrify agua frescas and call it spa water. Another one is the cowboy caviar. I remember seeing that pop in. Didn't understand what the heck this hype was, because I was like, that looks like ceviche, which is a very common dish in Latin cultures. And then this one's new to me actually. My friend sent it to me earlier today, which was elote, you know, corn on the cob. Y'all know, if you follow me, you know I love me pinche elote. And someone called it, I can't even say this, but they called it this, and it was a recipe that actually the New York Times posted on their Twitter. I was like, are you kidding me, y'all? There's so much lately on my TikTok popping off about literally the gentrification, I feel like, of my culture. White people are trying to gentrify these cultural norms that other cultures have already established within their own culture, and trying to redefine those terms. And I think that obviously adds to this whole concept of the whole LA cool girl, the girl trying to redefine what a cool girl in LA looks, which erases someone else's history, someone else's culture. And that really is bothersome, and I feel like I've been seeing it a lot lately since I even filmed this video, which I filmed this video like 2 days ago. But yeah, just want to pop in, say that real quickly, my thoughts, and yeah, now let's go back to ending this video. All in all, we cannot box LA into a singular experience because of the urbanization of LA, and each city has its own culture and history, and we can't just predominantly come and try to erase that, just how this LA cool girl is trying to do so. So yeah, that is my perspective on why the LA cool girl is a gentrifier, and just kind of rebuttaling that viral video, and just how my perspective on what an LA cool girl is. So I kind of just wanted to talk about this and just release some anger, if you will. Yeah, y'all, let me know what you think down below. And also, I'm interested in knowing an outsider perspective. Are these tropes something that you also feel like you've been seeing on media and assume what LA is? Let me know down below. I'm curious to hear what you have to say. I think that is all for me, folks. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a like. And if you are new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. You can also follow me on my social media, which is Living as Karina on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, that is everything for today's video. Love you so much. Thank you for taking the time to watch my vid. It truly means the most, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!